Hello! In our last session we modified our photo index view and saw the CHTML object in use. In this session we're going to install a Yii third-party color box extension to display individual photos in a color box. And also we're going to parameterize the uploads directory. So our index view displays the images in a grid pattern, but when we click on a photo it just displays that photo as a raw JPEG, which is not very pretty. And wouldn't it be nice to have a color box here? For this we're going to install a third-party extension from the Yii extensions library. So we go to the Yii framework extension, jcolorbox, and download the latest release. We unpack the zip file and copy the color-powered directory into our protected extensions folder. So that's all we need to do to install this extension. Now in the views photos index.php, we add a line to create an instance of the jcolorbox. Notice the syntax here. The colorbox has been created as a Yii widget. And if we look at the code, you can see that it extends the widget class. And Yii uses an alias syntax where application points to the protected directory. And then we reference extensions color-powered jcolorbox, which points to this specific code. Having created an instance of the jcolorbox widget, we can then assign properties or call methods. And in this case, we're going to add our images to the colorbox after the form has been rendered. And you can see the jcolorbox page for more specific details. Okay, we'll save that and refresh the form, and then click on a photo. And yes, we have a colorbox. So next, you'll notice that the captions are hidden here. So we'll add a small jQuery script to slide these in on mouse hover. So we go back to the index view, and at the bottom we're going to add a section that uses the application component called ClientScript. And this injects JavaScript. And I've specified here that it should be injected into the onDocumentReady position. The actual jQuery JavaScript I'm using is standard, so I'm not going to explain that here. You can also use the ClientScript application component to manage style sheets as well. So that's it, and let's go and see how that looks. So in our last session we hard-coded the URLs of our images to the /uploads directory. But directory naming and placing is really a deployment issue. So we should really put this in a configuration file somewhere. To do this we're going to use our main config, protected config main.php, and scroll down to the bottom and you'll see a params array, and we'll add an entry for uploads. Now we need to go and change the code to use this. However, we shouldn't really put this in the view, as it's not a presentation task, it's more a business rule, and so belongs in the data model. Therefore, we're going to create two new functions in our photo data model, getURL and getThumbURL, to return these values. So first we add a private variable to store the uploads parameter, and then in our helper function we check if it's empty, and if it is, we fetch it from the application component. And then we add our two getURL functions that use this function to build the image and thumbURL. And save that. Okay, so now we can go back to our view, which was the photo_view view, and we change the CHTML image to get the thumbURL from the model, and then the link to use the image URL. Okay, so that should do it. Let's go and check that. So I'm going to refresh the page and then use the Chrome Inspector to check the image path. And yes, that seems to work all fine. So in this session we've added a third-party extension, and we've seen how to include JavaScript using the ClientScript application component, and how to store and retrieve parameters from the main config file.